parliamentary building by a fire in March is around 10.5 million rand. The South African Police Service has ruled out foul play, saying an electrical fault caused the fire. Public Works and Infrastructure officials updated MPs on the situation. The bulk of the ruin was caused by water damage when firefighters extinguished the blaze, but the building is still fit for occupation as not much structural damage was caused. MPs questioned Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Patricia de Lille about insurance for government buildings.
We don't have insurance on any government building. And I have raised this issue with the Minister of Finance that I do think it's time that we review a decision that was taken years ago, because definitely there is a need to insure government buildings, but also especially key national points, essential infrastructure points that we need to protect. And so that part and that discussion is still work in progress.
And now let's quickly remind you of the top stories this hour. Incidents of murder, attempted murder and assault increased in the first 3 months of the year, according to crime statistics released today. The Gauteng Premier David Makhura wants tighter COVID-19 restrictions in the province, but not a total shutdown of the economy, he says. Reef Magashule serves Luthuli House with court papers challenging the constitutionality of the party's step-aside resolution that resulted in his suspension. Kaizer Chiefs fans take to the streets to demonstrate their unhappiness about the senior team's performance in recent months. So we're asking you this evening, what do you make of that decision by the ANC Secretary General Magashule to challenge his suspension in court? We've been hearing from our viewers. Let's see more tweets this evening, what they have to say about this. Philip says they need to fire Ace from the ANC. The guy's finishing the ANC and he doesn't care. He has been attacking ANC leadership in public since Nazareth, but they allowed him to behave like ANC belongs to him. He's a bad man and needs to be expelled to save the ANC. So let's see what other viewers have to say, if they concur or disagree. Maurice Sekhoba saying, I'll also do that, more especially if I've got nothing to lose. It's very clear that Ramaphosa's administration doesn't want him at Luthuli House, so he no longer cares. So as you can see, a different point of view there. McDonald Sibui, let's see what you have to say. You say, I'm not surprised. AC is an ill-disciplined member of my ANC. He has a right to challenge the organization if he believes that his rights have been trampled on. If I were him, I would respect the decision of the NEC. So it seems to be almost split down the middle, the views on this evening. Wenzile Tusi, let's see what you have to say. Ms. Magashule's move is of high risk with high gains and high losses. If he wins, he will probably end up being president of the ANC. If he loses, he'll probably be expelled from the ANC. So interesting views coming from our viewers this evening. Nazim Khrupwam, you write this evening that I think it's fair for him to challenge the decision, but anyway, he's going to lose. So interesting views coming out. What are yours? Do you want to weigh in on this? Hashtag full view. And you can view any of our interviews or features by subscribing to our YouTube channel. We are available on sabcnews.com. So after a long hiatus, the Bassline Live at the Lyric Theatre in Johannesburg is back, bringing fans the live music experience they've been missing throughout the last year of the COVID-19 lockdown. Bassline Live is reviving in the form of a 3-concert series in the month of May. Faku, Msaki and Zoë Modiga will be on stage at the Lyric Theatre at Johannesburg's Gold Reef City on the 8th, 15th and 22nd of May respectively. And founder director of the Bassline Jazz Club, Holmes, joins us now. Very good evening to you and thank you so much much for joining us, Brad. So, returning to live shows with a live audience, is it the full bouquet of experience?
Well, we did our first show in 14 months to an audience last week. Basically 250 people in a 1,000-seater, so it's a quarter of the venue. The restrictions are very strong and strict. People sit the necessary sort of part where they need to, and it really worked. So the energy is still in the room, and the musicians could feed off the audience, and the audience could feed off the musicians, and that's where the real magic happens when with music and quite a few other things as well. So it was great. We're now going into our next sort of third wave, it would appear. So the good thing is everything's being shot, and it will be streamed. So all 3 shows people will be able to watch, and that will be marketed out. So we're hoping that we're okay for next week, and then we can imagine that there will be stronger lockdown restrictions.
Okay, so we'll talk about what you are serving up over the next couple of weeks, but how has COVID impacted you industry-wide? The entertainment industry has been bludgeoned, but how has this impacted you, and has it forced you to pivot in ways that you ordinarily wouldn't have?
Yeah, I think it's, Bassline is specifically live. So that's what we do, and we specifically do South African talent and African talent. So for us, the lockdown has been a major, it's been very, very difficult. It certainly teaches you to think differently and to pivot into other processes. So we've moved into a lot of content licensing with artists to bring artists in additional income. We've developed some educational stuff and made sure we've kept busy. We did some nice stuff with Zoë Modiga last year. We did a online series with the French Institute and Total last year, and we also did an online series with Brand South Africa and the Department of Arts and Culture last year as well. So the process is obviously moving online, getting content that's reusable, so the artist can use the content more than once and get additional income. So that's where we're going to go for the next 3-4 months, and hopefully the vaccination process starts kicking in and we can start doing shows again.
Okay, so then tell us a little bit more of, I know I mentioned what you have planned for the month of May, but you may have heard the Gauteng Premier talk about the fact that we are officially going to, be in the third wave. So how's that going to impact you?
Well, I think firstly, we're in a very strict environment, which is Gold Reef City. The theatres it's very well looked after, and all COVID regulations are followed. Also, we're only filling a quarter of the venue. Tomorrow's show with Msaki is almost sold out, and the ticket sales for Zoe are going well. And I think as long as everybody behaves and takes it very seriously when it comes to enjoying music, because that's what they're coming for, and follows all the regulations set up by Gold Reef City, we should be okay.
But how have you structured that? I mean, as you say, if everybody behaves, so that leaves the responsibility on the individuals who attend, but how have you tried to secure yourself against being a super spreader?
So I think the big thing is that the space itself, as I say, it's a quarter of the space. Okay. I mean, I don't know if you've been into Gold Reef City, but it's very, very serious, strict regulations. When you go in, you get your temperature gets checked. You go through a whole process. When you pop out, then when you get to the theatre, that happens again. So where they're sanitizing, and then when you're sitting down, the seats are in twos. So most of the time, you've got people that have a booking in twos, and that's how you're separating people while they're watching the show. And the theatres, as I say, it's a 1,000, actually 1 is the theatre size. So
So
it's a quarter of the theatre.
So basically, it is also a first come, first serve thing as well. So the virtual events, have they changed the space for artists and organizers?
Well, I think the virtual events for paying, as far as pay-per-view is concerned, I think that's very challenging. There are a few markets where it's really working. I know that the gospel market works and the Afrikaans market works very, very well with streaming. I think the other guys all do okay. Some do better than others. The process, I think, is to get what we've been doing is partnering with international festivals and tapping into their Facebook pages. So giving our artists an opportunity to be exposed to festivals, which we've worked with the WOMADs of the world and these Sakifos in Reunion, etc. We've worked with about 5-6 festivals. And then attaching brands to that, giving those brands exposure on the screen permanently, and then getting them some fair point of return on investment, but then getting the artists as much exposure as possible. So that seems to be working with the type of music that we're doing. So we're doing funded events where the artists are paid properly and where people watch the shows for free.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking to us. Brad Holmes is a founder and director of Bassline Jazz Club. I'm sure if you go to their website, you'll be able to get more information as well. So we're going to take a quick break. Simon is going to be back with more news. There's cricket news in there as well. So do stay with us.
If you love nice things, you love the chicken fold over regular meal now at $49.90.
Ke gotse ke le mosimane wa kopa msata ke se thata ke nwa mabjala ke tlhakatlhakane go iragala gore ke bone basimane ba tlhaletse mo TV Gospel Gold ba bina mmino ke o bina go kerekeng ka ba le toro ya gore le nna ka tsatsi lengwe ke batla go ipona ke dira se molemo se se dirwang ke batho ba gore be ke fetogile ke ba motho ke leng yene gompieno ke nna moetisiruteng ke sopedisa mmino wa sedumedi ke tswetsa pele se modimo a batla se tswele pele mo lefatsheng le go fetola maphelo a batho ke se ke le sona ka go tseba gore Gospel Gold contributed a lot in my life.
From our headquarters in Johannesburg, the SABC News team is committed to delivering news that caters for everyone. With our fully integrated newsroom, we work tirelessly to deliver the best local and international content. No matter where you are, our journalists are always ready to travel to every part of the world. That is why we have invested in state-of-the-art studios just to bring you the best quality you deserve.
Many of our people dying on the way.
SABC News. Independent, impartial.
Health Talk is your go-to information hub for all things relating to your health. The show covers South African and international health stories ranging from personal health to policy and analysis. Viewers can also interact with our studio experts via phone-ins, Facebook, Twitter and voice notes. Be sure to tune in to Health Talk Saturdays between 9 and 10 a.m.